So now we're going to the fourth ayah of Surah Maryam, and we are now mentioning the dua of Nabi Zakaria. He says, he said, Rabbi inni wahana al-'azmu minni. My Lord, indeed my bones have weakened, my bones became weak. Washta'ala ra'su shayba, and my head has filled with gray hair. So basically his head became gray. So first of all, Zakaria is mentioning his old age, but he doesn't mention it directly. I became old. He says it. This is the meaning implied by pointing to the signs of an old age. First time he mentions is that his bones became weak, and this is what you could call internal sign of old age. And then he mentions his gray hair, and this is the external side. So, we can say Sayyidina Zakaria is feeling old and he is looking old. So there is a clear signs inside and outside that Sayyidina Zakaria, Nabi Zakaria, is old. And here, by mentioning all of this, Nabi Zakaria is showing to us his trust to Allah, because he is not relying on himself. He's not relying on what you could call natural causes. Because natural causes, he is already old, because he will be asking to give him an heir, a child who will succeed him. So Zakaria relying on Allah, because he knows for Allah nothing is impossible, and he doesn't rely upon himself. And then he says, "Walam akun bidu'aika Rabbi shaqiya," and I never remained, my Lord, unanswered in my prayer to you. Or you could say, I was never disappointed, but disappointed not as an emotional disappointed in the sense of not receiving what you asked. So the meaning is, in the previous time, before, I was asking and you were granting me. So even before, when I was not that young, that old and that weak, I was younger and I was stronger, and you were answering me. And in this situation, now when I'm older and weaker, I'm asking you now with hope that you will answer my dua. And he is saying, he is making step closer to what he's going to ask about. He continues outlining the context or circumstances, and he says, I fear my kinsmen after me, وَإِنِّي خِفْتُ الْمَوَالِيَ مِنْ وَرَائِي. He's afraid that they will not carry the message as it is, they will change the deen, they will not establish the deen. And then he says, I am old, I cannot rely on people after me, and in terms of my wife cannot have children, my wife is barren. So we say that Zakaria is afraid that because he doesn't have a successor who is worthy of this job, the deen will be distorted after him, and he is concerned for his ummah even after his mission is over. And then he says, not only I am old, also my wife does not give birth to a child. And then this is the dua. What was before was an introduction, now it is the actual ask. فَهَبْ لِي مِنْ لَدُنْكَ وَلِيًّا. So grant me an heir from you. Now, what does it mean, give from you? So he's saying, I'm relying on you. I'm not relying on myself. I'm not relying on the creation. I'm not relying on the natural causes. Min ladunka, from you, what you could call directly. And we'll say an heir, waliyan, this heir who will be given to you, because he's from you, he will be righteous, he will be God-fearing, he will be worthy of this mission. And in this case, it would be appropriate to mention there is a famous dua which is written by Sheikh Abdul Salam ibn Mashish, who passed away in the 7th century of Hijrah. And this dua is known as Salatul Mashishiyya, meaning Salah, a prayer upon the Prophet, by Ibn Mashish. And in this dua you find this line, Ya awwalu, Ya akhiru, Ya zahiru, Ya batin, which is mentioned, calling to Allah by his name, Al-awwal, Al-akhir, Al-zahir, Batin. Isma' nida'i bima sami'ta bihi nida' abdika Zakaria. Listen to my call as you heard the call of your slave Zakaria. And what was the call? What was the context? Sheikh Abdul Salam ibn Mashish, being a sheikh of in the science of tasawwuf, science of purification of the heart, he felt that he needed to find a successor who would pass this knowledge further. And he's making dua, and he's mentioning Sayyidina Zakaria. He's mentioning Nabi Zakaria. So he in the situation like Sayyidina Zakaria, he's also asking for someone who to be given someone who will be transmitting this knowledge further. And the answer to this call it was Sheikh Abul Hasan al-Shadhali. He was his student. He inherited tariqah and teaching from him. And Sheikh Abu Hasan al-Shadhali is probably even more known than Sheikh Abdul Salam ibn Mashish, because his name, it became the name of a very widespread tariqah known as Shadhali tariqah. This is something mentioned on the, or you could say on the margin, nevertheless related to what we are speaking about here. And then he say that, give me an heir, yarithuni wa yarithu min ali Yaqub, who inherits me and inherits from the house of Yaqub, waj'alhu rabbi radiyya, and make him my Lord pleasing to you. So when we speak about inheritance, there are different interpretations of it, but the most common and the most, if not correct, but the most closely related to what we're talking about here, he inherited Sharia, meaning the sacred law. He inherited the book, Torah, so he would be teaching the same scriptures, knowledge, and also leadership of the people after Zakaria. Now, here, because previously Sayyidina Zakaria, Nabi Zakaria, was calling to Allah because he is further describing what this heir, what he must be like. So in this, there is a certainty that dua will be answered. And because he's certain, confident in the answer of dua, he's giving further qualities. What will be this heir? So it's not like he would ask for a child, and only when the child is born, he would be making dua, make this child righteous. But he knows that the dua will be answered, and because it is answered, he is also mentioning what qualities of the heir he is asking for. And in this case, speaking about inheritance, it's worthy to mention the hadith, portion of the hadith, that inna al-ulama warathatul anbiya, that the scholars are the inheritors of the prophets, and that prophets, what they leave behind, they don't leave behind dinar or dirham. What they leave behind is al-ilm, knowledge. So we know that in the times of what is the meanings and the context of this hadith for our ummah, that previously, when one prophet was living in the times of Banu Israel, another one would be taking his place. So the place of Zakaria, for example, would be taken by Yahya. And when it comes to us, Rasulullah, our Prophet Muhammad, is the last messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So there will be no prophet to take on this mission after him. So, and in this case, the inheritors of the prophets, this is the scholars. These are the scholars. Then, at this point, we have an answer to Zakaria from Allah. Ya Zakaria, inna nubashiruka bi ghulamin ismuhu Yahya. O Zakaria, we give you good news, good tidings of a boy. His name is Yahya. So here it is something not articulated, but it is assumed, omitted from pronunciation. So Zakaria made dua, and then Allah answered his dua, and Allah said, Allah is responding to Zakaria, O Zakaria, we give you good tidings of a boy. His name is Yahya. Now, when we say we give you good tidings of a boy, it can mean Allah, or it also can mean angels responding to Zakaria and giving him the good news. Why? Because in another ayah, because we said you can cross-reference this story with the narration of the story in Surah Al-Imran, it says, فَنَادَتْهُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَهُوَ قَائِمٌ يُصَلِّ فِي الْمِحْرَابِ. And the angels call to him while he, Zakaria, is praying in mihrab. So it can mean angels, or it can mean Allah saying, Ya Zakaria, we give you good tidings of a boy. And as you know, we, plural, if we say it is from Allah, in this case, it does not indicate plurality number. It is grammatical plural to indicate greatness and majesty. And when it comes to good tidings, what is the good tidings? Three things. So first of all, that your dua is answered. It was not unheard. Second one, that you will be given a son. And third one, it's sort of a good news. We're giving you good news that his name will be Yahya. And then what about this name Yahya? What is so special about it? لم نجعل له من قبل سميا. We did not create anyone before him of the same name. There was no another Sami before him that we made. So what does it mean, Sami? There was no another Sami. No one of this name existed before. This is most, you could say, apparent and interpretation that is there on the surface. Another way of interpreting it is take a different meaning of Sami. It means that no one similar to him was created before. You will also find in Surah Maryam, Aya hal ta'lam lahu samiyan. Do you know anyone similar to him? Question related about, do you know, meaning anyone similar to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Samiya in this case means similar. So in that in that interpretation, it becomes, we did not create anyone before him who is similar to him.